Have you ever felt like you're playing by a set of rules no one else follows? You put in the hours, you do the work, you support your team, you do everything right. But when the promotion comes up, or the deal needs to be closed, you get a polite smile and nothing more. And you see other people who don't seem to work as hard or care as much, glide through life. The opportunities, the recognition, the relationships, they all seem to land in their lap with effortless charm. And you're left wondering what they know that you don't. Here's the truth. They aren't luckier. They just understand a secret you haven't been taught. Getting what you want isn't about being the most deserving. It's about shaping perception. It's about making people want to give you what you desire, making your success feel like their idea. In the next few minutes, I'm pulling back the curtain on this knowledge. I'm going to show you how they do it. And more importantly, how you can too. For centuries, this wisdom wasn't taught in schools. It was passed down in the backrooms of financiers and the private letters of kings. It's a philosophy of power built on an unflinching view of human nature. Its most infamous codifier was a 16th century diplomat named Niccolò Machiavelli. His book, The Prince, was so divorced from conventional morality that his name became a synonym for evil. But what if Machiavelli wasn't teaching evil? What if he was simply describing reality? He argued that to succeed in a world full of people who are not good, you must learn how not to be good and use that knowledge when necessary. This isn't about becoming a monster. It's about understanding that the world operates on a hidden set of rules. The people who get what they want understand these rules, whether they admit it or not. Today, we unpack the modern application of these principles. This is for you, for negotiating your salary, for leading a team, for navigating the social dynamics of everyday life. We will explore 6 laws of this dark art, 6 principles that can shift the balance of power in your favor. The first law, sculpt your own shadow. The first law is the most fundamental. People do not react to who you are. They react to who they perceive you to be. Machiavelli knew this 500 years ago. He understood that people judge more by appearances than by reality. Your reputation, the story told about you when you're not in the room, is the most powerful asset you will ever own. You don't leave that story to chance. You sculpt it. This is about consciously managing how you are seen. It's about projecting competence and authority in every move you make. Think about it. When someone walks into a room with their shoulders back, makes direct eye contact, and speaks in a measured, calm tone, what is your immediate assumption? You assume they're in control. You assume they're important. They haven't shown you a resume. They've projected an aura of power. This perception frames every interaction that follows. When a company is in crisis, a new CEO's first 90 days are an exercise in perception management. Their primary job isn't to fix every problem overnight. It's to project absolute confidence. They hold meetings. They speak with unwavering certainty about the future. They are sculpting a new narrative, one of stability and inevitable success. They change the perception of the company, and in doing so, they begin to change its reality. Belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. How do you apply this? Start with an audit of your own projection. How do you enter a room? How do you speak? Do you use hesitant language like, I think maybe we could? Or do you state your case with conviction? The best path forward is. Your digital presence is a critical part of your shadow. It can be curated to project expertise, sharing insightful commentary and celebrating successes, without boasting, all contribute to the perception of you as a leader. You're actively providing the world with the evidence you want them to see. But here's the deeper layer. A little mystique is a powerful tool. In an age of oversharing, the less you say, the more profound you seem. The person who explains every thought and every insecurity is seen as common. The person who remains calm, who listens intently, and who only speaks with substance, is perceived as having hidden depths. People lean in. Your words gain weight because they're used sparingly. Think of the professional poker player. Their face is a mask of calm neutrality. This isn't just about hiding their cards. It's about projecting an image of impenetrable control. Their opponents become intimidated, not by the cards they hold, but by the shadow of the person holding them. This is not about being fake. It is about being intentional. The second law, master the two beasts. The second law is about embracing a fundamental duality. Machiavelli taught that a leader must learn to use the beast, and for this, must choose 2 models, the fox and the lion. The lion is powerless against traps, and the fox is powerless against wolves. To succeed, you must be a fox to recognize the traps and a lion to frighten the wolves. It's not about being one or the other. It's about the wisdom to know when to be each. The lion is strength, directness, and force. It is the ability to be assertive and defend your position. The fox is cunning, strategy, and the ability to see hidden dynamics. The fox doesn't fight battles it can't win. It sidesteps them and uses intelligence to outmaneuver stronger foes. Most people fail because they only know how to be one. They're either perpetually the lion, picking fights and walking blindly into traps. Or they are perpetually the fox, always scheming, appearing so shifty that no one ever trusts them. They lack the lion's ability to command respect. The master of influence cultivates both. Consider negotiation. You may enter as the lion, stating your position with unshakable strength. This show of force can make the other side concede. But what if they have a hidden advantage? This is where the fox emerges. The fox has done the research. The fox understands the other party's weaknesses and what they really need from a deal. While the lion is roaring, the fox is quietly analyzing, listening for what is not being said. Perhaps the other company is desperate to close the deal before the end of the quarter. The fox recognizes this. The real power lies in waiting them out. You can then use the lion's strength to deliver the final blow, but it was the fox's intelligence that told you when to strike. How do you cultivate your inner lion and fox? To cultivate the lion, you must become comfortable with confrontation. Practice in small ways. The next time your coffee order is wrong, don't just accept it. Politely but firmly state, "Excuse me, I ordered an oat milk latte. This is regular milk. Please remake it." You're not being difficult. You're being a lion, defending your territory. To cultivate the fox, you must become a student of human nature. Before any important meeting, do your homework. Who is in the room? What are their motivations? Learn to listen more than you speak. Let others reveal their weaknesses. Mastering the two beasts means you have the lion's strength, so people know not to challenge you lightly. But you also have the fox's cunning, so they know they cannot outsmart you. This duality makes you formidable. The third law, the law of calculated chaos. The third law is one that terrifies most people. You must be decisive and embrace calculated risk. Machiavelli argued that it is better to be bold than to be cautious, because fortune favors the audacious. He believed it is better to make mistakes from ambition than to achieve nothing through inaction. This is the law of calculated chaos. Playing it safe is the most dangerous strategy of all. Most people are paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong choice. They analyze a situation to death, waiting for the perfect moment. But the perfect moment never arrives. While they're deliberating, the opportunity passes. Here's the truth. Inaction is a decision. It is the decision to let circumstances or other people dictate your fate. The master of influence understands that decisiveness is a form of power. A quick, firm decision, even if it's not perfect, projects control. People are drawn to those who appear to know what they are doing. A leader who makes a bold decision and says, "This is the way forward," creates momentum. The energy of the group shifts from deliberation to execution. Think of Jeff Bezos and the creation of Amazon Web Services. In the early 2000s, renting out their internal infrastructure was a radical and proven concept. A cautious leader would have killed it. But Bezos acted with decisive ambition, making a bold bet on a future others didn't see. That gamble paid off. It was a classic case of calculated chaos reshaping an industry. Think of Bill Gates licensing MS-DOS to IBM instead of selling it. He bought an operating system for $75,000 and, instead of taking a safe payday from a giant like IBM, insisted on a licensing deal. He bet that other manufacturers would clone IBM's PC and would all need his operating system. That single, risky decision is what turned Microsoft into a behemoth. How do you harness this power? First, you must reframe your relationship with failure. Failure is not the opposite of success, it is data. The goal is not to avoid failure, but to survive it. Make small bets constantly. This builds your risk muscle. Elon Musk is famous for this with SpaceX. Early rockets exploded. He saw it as a spectacular form of data collection. Second, you must learn to act with incomplete information. You will never have all the facts. Gather the best information available in a reasonable time frame. Trust your intuition and make a call. Give yourself deadlines for decisions. Third, when you act with overwhelming force. Machiavelli advised that if you must injure an opponent, the injury should be so severe you do not fear their revenge. In a modern sense, when you commit to a course of action, commit 100%. The world does not reward the timid. It rewards the bold. We're about to dive into the principles of strategic manipulation. If you're finding value in this, hit the subscribe button right now. It ensures you won't miss the critical laws that are coming next. Click it. Now let's get back to it. The fourth law, the law of the unseen current. Welcome to the heart of the dark arts. The fourth law is about using the unseen currents of human psychology to influence people, often without them realizing they're being guided. The word manipulation has a nasty reputation. But at its core, manipulation is simply the skillful handling of a person to achieve a desired end. A doctor manipulates bones to heal them. A con artist manipulates you out of your savings. The tool is the same. The intent differs. To get what you want, you must understand that people are not rational. We are emotional beings driven by ego, insecurity, and fear. Decisions are almost always made on an emotional level and then justified with logic. The master of influence doesn't waste time appealing to reason. They appeal to self-interest and emotion. One of the most powerful tools is reciprocity. When someone gives you something, you feel an obligation to give something back. The masterful influencer always gives first: help, a compliment, valuable information. This creates a psychological debt. Later, when they ask for something, the target feels a subconscious urge to say yes. The second is liking and rapport. We are far more likely to be influenced by people we like. Liking can be manufactured through similarity, compliments, and cooperation. The influencer will subtly mirror the body language of their target, creating a sense of familiarity. They will find common ground. Each of these things is a thread in a web of rapport that makes their requests feel less like transactions and more like favors between friends. The third, and perhaps most Machiavellian, is leveraging people's weaknesses and insecurities. Everyone wants to feel important. The strategic influencer identifies what a person is insecure about and validates them in that area. If a manager is insecure about their strategic vision, a cunning subordinate might say, "That was a brilliant insight. You have a way of seeing the big picture no one else does." This is a targeted injection of validation. The person who provides this becomes indispensable. Once you make someone feel seen in the way they desperately want to be seen, they will be incredibly susceptible to your influence. How do you apply this? First, become a giver. Make it a habit to help others without immediate expectation of return. You're stocking up on goodwill, the currency of influence. Second, become genuinely curious about people. Understand what drives them. The more you understand their inner world, the more effectively you can frame your desires in a way that aligns with theirs. Third, learn the art of the subtle, genuine compliment. Don't flatter obvious strengths. Compliment them for things they have worked hard on. This shows you are paying attention. This is a dangerous law, but to ignore it, to pretend these unseen currents don't exist, is to leave yourself at the mercy of those who have no such qualms. The fifth law, the law of flexible steel. The fifth law addresses a great cause of failure: rigidity. You must be willing to change your conduct with the times. The world is not static. The plan that was brilliant yesterday may be obsolete today. The person who falls in love with their plan is destined to be broken. Think of steel. In its rigid state, it is strong, but under enough pressure, it snaps. Flexible steel can bend, absorb force, and be forged into a new shape. In the world of power, you must be like flexible steel, strong in your purpose, but fluid in your methods. The corporate world is a graveyard of companies that failed to adapt. Blockbuster is the classic example. Their strategy was physical stores and late fees. When Netflix came along, Blockbuster saw them as a nuisance. They had a chance to buy Netflix for $50 million and laugh them out of the room. They were rigid, so committed to their successful model that they refused to adapt. Netflix, on the other hand, was flexible steel. They started with DVDs by mail, but when streaming became viable, they cannibalized their own business to pivot. The result? Blockbuster is a memory. Netflix is a giant. This is just as critical in our personal lives. Imagine you are trying to convince your boss to approve a project with a data-driven report, but you can tell it's not working. The rigid person would push forward and fail. The practitioner of flexible steel adapts in real time. They notice their boss's emotional state. They pivot. They might say, "You know what? You have a lot on your plate. Here's the 30-second version. I know you're under pressure to increase the department's profile. This project is a high-visibility win that will make our team look like rock stars." Notice the shift. They abandoned the logical approach and adapted to the boss's immediate emotional and political needs. How do you cultivate this adaptability? First, detach your ego from your plan. Your plan is a tool, not part of your identity. If the tool isn't working, drop it and pick up another. The goal is to achieve your objective, not to prove your plan was right. Second, expand your toolkit. A person with only a hammer sees every problem as a nail. Study different methods of persuasion: rational argument, emotional appeal, storytelling. The more tactics you have, the more adaptable you can be. Third, practice strong opinions, weakly held. This means having the courage to act decisively on a hypothesis, but also the humility to discard it instantly in the face of new evidence. Rigidity is fragility. Flexibility is power. The sixth law, the law of the fortress mind. The final law protects all the others. It is the art of building a fortress within your own mind, one that is emotionally disciplined, shielded from the manipulation of others, and relentlessly dedicated to learning. Machiavelli warned against flatterers. A leader who cannot protect their own mind from poor counsel and emotional manipulation is doomed. The world is full of people who will try to exploit your emotions. They will use flattery to disarm you and guilt to control you. A person who is a slave to their own emotions, their anger, their pride, their need for validation, is an easy target. Their buttons are visible for anyone to push. Building a fortress mind starts with emotional mastery. This is the ability to feel an emotion without being controlled by it. When someone insults you, the fortress mind feels the spark of anger but does not act. Instead, it asks, why are they saying this? What are they trying to achieve? By observing your own emotional reaction instead of being consumed by it, you retain your strategic clarity. You are in control, not them. This also means being cautious about who you trust. People's motives are complex. To be naive is to be vulnerable. The second part of the fortress mind is a relentless commitment to learning. Machiavelli advised the prince to read history and study the actions of great men. Your intellect is your primary weapon and your primary defense. The more you know, the harder you are to deceive. The more you understand history, psychology, and strategy, the more patterns you will recognize. The amateur investor rides the emotional waves of the market. They buy in a frenzy and sell in a panic. Their mind is a leaf in the wind. The legendary investor, the Warren Buffett type, has a fortress mind. They have studied decades of market history. When others are panicking, they are calm because they have seen this pattern before. Their deep knowledge protects them. How do you build this? First, practice self-awareness. Learn to observe your thoughts and emotions from a distance. When you feel a strong emotion, pause. Name it. This is anger. This simple act creates a space between the feeling and your response. In that space lies your power. Second, become a voracious reader. Study the lives of great leaders and strategists. Every book you read adds another layer of stone to your fortress walls. Third, cultivate a small council of trusted advisors who are not afraid to tell you the truth. A single voice pointing out a flaw is worth more than 1,000 flatterers. The dark arts are useless if your own mind is your greatest enemy. Today, we journeyed into the shadows, exploring 6 timeless principles for getting what you want. We learned to sculpt our own shadow, because perception is the only reality that matters. We learned to master the 2 beasts, balancing the lion's strength with the fox's cunning. We embraced calculated chaos, recognizing that bold action shapes fortune. We delved into the unseen current, using psychology to guide others. We understood the necessity of flexible steel, the power of adapting to a changing world. And finally, we learned to build a fortress mind, protecting ourselves with emotional discipline. This knowledge is power, and power can be used for good or for ill. The purpose of this journey was not to turn you into a monster, but to arm you. To arm you against the manipulations of others, and to give you the tools to shape your own destiny. The world already operates by these rules. Now, you know the game. My challenge is this. In the next 7 days, choose one of these laws and apply it. Maybe you'll practice being the lion and firmly state a boundary. Maybe you'll be the fox and do deep research before conversation. Start small. Test these principles for yourself. And if you want to continue your education in the art of power, make sure you are subscribed. We are just scratching the surface. Click that subscribe button and the notification bell. Until next time, remember, it is better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Be prepared.